Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan and today we've got to rank some players in a tier list for Game Week 25. Double Game Week 25 in fact. So guys, I'm very excited to get started. Like the video, subscribe, let's go. So as always, we have got 5 categories where we're going to rank these players based on how good I think they are as transfers for Game Week 25. We're going to start off with the 30th most popular transfer at time of recording, working our way up to the most popular transfer of the week. And the 30th is actually Mr. Ollie Watkins coming off a blank. And I think I'm going to put him in the optional category. Now, this is no slight on Watkins. He's obviously going to be a very good pick over the next coming game weeks. However, he doesn't have a double game week. And I do feel like this game week, we probably do need to prioritize the double game week players a little bit more. Watkins in general is a good player to own. If you still have him, amazing. But if you haven't bought him already, maybe this is not the week to do it. Maybe wait one more game week before going in on Ollie Watkins. I don't think Fulham away is an amazing fixture anyway. It's decent, don't get me wrong, but it's not like top tier, I don't think. Next up, Robertson. Obviously, he is a double game week player, but I'm going to put him slightly below Watkins because I think there is a little bit of rotation risk there with, obviously, Joe Gomez is going to be coming back from his illness. We're going to have Simicast in and around the squad once again. He saw some minutes in game week 24, so I don't think it's a guarantee that Robertson starts 2 out of 2 on the double game week. But if he does, set pieces, free kicks, corners, could actually be okay. So I do think he's definitely an option, and he's one of those players that you could get lucky with if you chose him. He could actually be a decent pick, but risk there. There is risk there. Next up, Douglas Luiz. Don't really see too much point in going for him this game week. I think in the near future, we might be starting to talk about Douglas Luiz again, but it's just not the week for Douglas Luiz, unfortunately. When you look at some of the midfielders available this game week and how much they could score in this double game week 25, Douglas Luiz is just not going to be among those top scoring midfielders this week. He really isn't. So yeah, I think you can give him a miss for this game week. But as I say, we will be looking at the likes of Watkins and Douglas Luiz again in the very near future, just not the game week for it. Now, next up, here is a player who is so influential in the world of FPL that he has found himself in the top 30 most transferred in players despite being injured, and that's Mo Salah. He's going to go in the avoid section for me. Now, if you already have Salah in your team, if you never sold him, then there's maybe an argument to keep him, but if you don't own Salah already, I really am not sure if I would be looking to buy him. I mean, who would you have to sell in order to get Salah? De Bruyne? Would it be a Son? I'd rather keep those players than go for Salah, because I think the best case scenario with Salah this week is you get maybe a best case scenario 90 minutes. Even that I think is pretty unlikely over the course of the double game week because unfortunately he is coming back from an injury. He might not even be back ready to train this week. So are we really convinced that he's going to be starting 2 out of 2 games? There's no way, especially with the League Cup final the following Saturday. So I think Salah may struggle to get minutes this game week, and I think you probably are best off spending your money elsewhere. Now, especially if you consider Salah actually blanks next game week as well, maybe Salah is just not the player to go for right now. We can maybe wait 2 more game weeks whilst we wait for Salah to get back to full fitness before we start talking about him again properly. So for now, he is going to be an avoid. Next up, Richarlison. I think he is somewhere between avoid and optional. I think actually this game week is not so bad for him, so it's kind of tough. It is kind of tough to make a decision because I kind of like, in a way, the look of Richarlison against Wolves, but at the same time, I think I'm going to have to drop him down into the avoid category if you don't have him already, because that blank game week in 26 is going to cause some problems. If you're thinking about picking up Liverpool players and Luton players who all blank in 26 after their double, do you really want to be adding Spurs and Chelsea players to the mix as well? Probably not, to be fair. So I'm going to put Richarlison in avoid. Next up, Alvarez. I know he's a controversial one at the moment, particularly on this channel. We find ourselves talking about Alvarez so much on this channel at the moment, but yeah, he's optional for me. Absolute bet. I don't think I would be buying him really, but there's maybe small arguments to buy him if you think he's going to get minutes over the double game week. I guess he has a chance of getting decent minutes, but I just don't see why you would go for him over so many other forwards that just look better at the moment. Particularly, we've got many forwards with double game weeks this week, and you want to go for Alvarez. I just don't really see it. So yeah, Alvarez, minutes risk, not on penalties or set pieces anymore, playing a little bit deeper, having to take his shots from longer range, not really feeling it so much out there anymore. And I think the opportunity cost of having an Alvarez in your team, if it means you're sacrificing Haaland, if it means you're sacrificing Foden, De Bruyne, and many other forwards like Tony or Darwin, then where is the benefit? Where is the gain? Don't really see it. Not going to recommend him really. Let's put a player a little bit higher, and that's going to be Alfie Doughty. I'm going to put him in good transfer, not necessarily just for this game week, but in the next 4 game weeks, Doughty has 2 double game weeks and also is likely to have a fixture in game week 29 as well, where many other players will be blanking. So he is going to be a fairly useful player to have in your squad. Now, you wouldn't necessarily play him every game week, and this game week is tough. Every game week's tough for Luton to get clean sheets, I suppose. But the attacking kind of emphasis that Doughty provides is definitely something very, very creative player, probably the biggest creator in that Luton team that are scoring goals at the moment, and he's on those set pieces as well, which is really, really useful, playing really high up on that left-hand side of the Luton defence, more like a winger, really, but listed as defender. But do not expect clean sheets from him. It is very unlikely. Next up, Pickford. I'm going to actually put him in the avoid category as well. I know this game week is nice because we've got Crystal Palace for Everton, but after that, the fixtures don't look that good. They're like kind of average fixtures, and after that, game week 29, really unlikely that Everton have a fixture in game week 29. Even if they do, it's going to be against Liverpool. So unless you're just going for Pickford as a one-week punt, I don't really see it, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to put him in the avoid category. Just not a goalkeeper I'd be going for right now. Seems a bit of a waste of a transfer, going for a goalkeeper with a single game week and poor fixtures after that, when we have so many like attackers with double game weeks coming up. Like, that should be the priority, right? Cole Palmer. I love this player so much. I love this pick so much. But for this week, I'm sorry, he is an avoid. He's going to have to go probably even lower than the likes of Douglas Luiz and Richarlison, because, well, we've got Man City this game week away from home, and then the following game week it's a blank. This is not a good time to buy Palmer if you don't have him already. A lot of people who do have him will be looking to sell him, actually. So definitely not a buy right now. Fabian Schär is going to go in the avoid category as well. Let's shove him in there. I think mostly or partially because I don't actually think this fixture against Bournemouth is that good. I think Newcastle are continuing to prove that they are a tragic defence. They really are a terrible defence this season, and paying 5.3 million for a defender who is probably going to concede 2-3 goals per game just doesn't make any sense, even against Bournemouth, which is not a great fixture. After that, they play against Arsenal. You know Arsenal are going to score goals against Newcastle as well. So it is not a good time to buy Newcastle defenders at all, and I don't have faith that you can continue to score those headed goals. Yes, it's going to happen now and again, but come on, it's not going to happen every week. Next up, Branthwaite. I think he is good value for money at 4.2 million. Really nice bench option, but again, would you be spending a transfer on him? No. If you're on a wild card and you maybe have him as like your final bench defender, if you like, then yeah, I see it. I definitely see why you would go for Branthwaite if you're on a wild card right now. Maybe if you're on a free hit, you put him on your bench again. But are you going to start Branthwaite this week? No. Is he worth spending a transfer on? Almost certainly no, unless maybe you're making a double transfer and you need to free up some money. That is the only way I would transfer in Branthwaite. If you're making a double transfer, you need to downgrade one of your defenders to kind of upgrade maybe a midfielder or a forward. In that case, yeah, Branthwaite, I see it. Next up, Pascal Gross, I think optional. He's doing pretty well at the moment with João Pedro out. He is going to be on penalties as well. However, no double game week does put me off just a little bit. So therefore, he is going to go in the optional category, no more. But yeah, set pieces, penalties, playing pretty advanced a lot of the time. He's actually not a bad pick. Actually not a bad pick at the moment, especially at that price. But it's just like, again, it's the double game week factor. Is he a priority? No. Saliba, same situation. Good defender to own. Some people are talking about doubling up on the Arsenal defence at the moment. I kind of see it. Yeah, I kind of see why you might want to do that. However, I think I'll probably give this game week a miss, even though I do think Arsenal will keep a clean sheet against Burnley. After that, we've got Newcastle. Newcastle will probably score against Arsenal. After that, maybe that's the time to make that second Arsenal defender transfer, potentially. So, yeah, we're going to put him in there. Morris up next. I think he's going to be a good transfer. Double game week now, double game week in 28 on penalties. A penalty taker on double game weeks always is very beneficial to have because you have double the chance of getting that, I guess, lucky penalty in a game. And Luton, for all their defensive troubles, attacking-wise, they've been doing absolutely fine. Morris has scored in back-to-back games now, back into the first 11 for Luton, looking pretty good. And we've got to put in our first great transfer of the video, guys, and it's going to be De Bruyne. People have called on him a little bit, having seen him rotated against Everton in game week 24, but I think that's a good sign. I think that one rest, he's coming back from injury. He's going to need to have a rest occasionally, but now he's had that, he's probably good to go to play the next couple of games for Man City. We're not going to see him rested every game week. We know he's one of the star players players of Man City and what a difference he makes when him and Haaland are playing together. I mean, we saw when he came on against Everton, very, very shortly after, plays an excellent through ball to Haaland and he finishes it off. That combination of players is just elite, and Man City do need to keep getting the points, the Premier League points, because Liverpool, Arsenal are hot on their tails and anything can happen towards the end of the season, and De Bruyne is a crucial player to make sure Man City stay winning. And Chelsea and Brentford, you know, these are games where the top players are going to be required. These are no easy fixtures that top players can be easily rested and rotated for. This is big. Next up, Trippier, who has had a little bit of form recently. I'm going to put him in the avoid category as well. Yes, he's actually been doing well from the attacking point of view, but clean sheets are no longer a thing for Newcastle. And I think if you're paying 6.8 million for a defender, you know, you need more than just the attacking returns. And again, the Arsenal fixture in game week 26 does bother me a little bit. You know, we're going to be struggling to field players in game week 26. You know, it's going to be difficult for everyone to field a full 11 without taking hits next game week. So therefore, Trippier being forced to play him maybe this game week against Bournemouth, which is not that good. I think Bournemouth will score, and then next week against Arsenal, it's kind of tough. I think we need to still wait a little while for Newcastle to try and pick up just a little bit of defensive form. Just like even if they go to conceding 1 goal per game or 2 goals per game, that's going to be a big improvement, and we haven't really seen that consistently so far. Next up, Van Dijk. Like him as a pick, actually. I think he's definitely between great and good transfer. I'm going to put him in good transfer, I think, but genuinely, if I'm going for a Liverpool defender right now, it is Van Dijk. You know, you've got that set-piece threat, you've got that nailedness, which so few Liverpool defenders can provide for you at the moment. And I think there is chances for a clean sheet this game week against Brentford and against Luton. Well, I guess we'll see what happens there. But yeah, certainly a good transfer. Solid. My favourite Liverpool defender to go for right now. Next up, Saka. And I think despite the single game week against Burnley, seeing the form that Arsenal are in right now, it's very difficult for me to suggest to go against Saka at the moment. I think he's a good transfer. I think if this was a single game week, we'd possibly be moving him up to a great transfer because we've got some good fixtures. You know, next Burnley. After that, Newcastle, who, like I keep saying, concede a lot of goals. And Saka, he's playing a lot more centrally. He's getting in some serious, dangerous areas at the moment. We are seeing that Saka really, really back to his best at the moment, playing kind of some amazing football, getting in all the right positions. Like, he is in many ways the star striker in many ways for Arsenal at the moment, whilst they might be lacking one, I guess. So Saka is really coming alive recently. His numbers are phenomenal. His underlying stats are just pretty much better than anyone else's in the Premier League at the moment, which is really saying something. So yeah, really, really a top pick and could outscore a lot of the double game week players this week as well. Next up, Garnacho. Fortunately, just not the game week for him. Decent pick, solid pick for sure, and a nice fixture against Luton for Manchester United, but yeah, I just don't know if this is the week for him because of the double game week. I think you spend money elsewhere. But again, maybe similar to Branthwaite, if you need to make a double transfer, then and you need to downgrade one of your midfielders, maybe Garnacho is the player I'd bring in. But I think even people who buy Garnacho might find themselves potentially benching him this game week anyway, because of all the double game week players that they have at their disposal, combined with the Arsenal players who you don't want to bench them either, I guess. Next up, Adebayo. Going to put him in a similar position to the likes of Doughty and Morris. We'll put the Luton boys together. I do think they're good transfers. I'm not going to put them any higher than that, just because the double game week is not a great double game week. Liverpool and Man United, and we do have a blank in 26 for them, so I don't think they have quite the same appeal as Liverpool players. I don't think that's too controversial. Obviously, Liverpool players are going to score more FPL points in a better game week, in a better double game week than Luton players in a slightly weaker double game week. So yeah, they're good picks, don't get me wrong, but could cause you issues. But Adebayo done very well against some top oppositions recently, so he could score. He definitely could score. Definitely still a solid option and a very good price for him as well. Nathan Ake. I think he kind of probably fits in the optional category. A little bit of risk there involved with him. Not sure if he's guaranteed minutes. He's been starting a lot of games recently in the Premier League, but then we said the same thing about Kyle Walker. And we all know what happened there. So Man City, particularly in defence, nobody is ever safe. And to be honest, are we really expecting clean sheets from City this double game week anyway? Brentford, Chelsea, these teams can score goals. So yeah, I don't think it's guaranteed or anything like that, but certainly an optional pick could work out. Ake has a tiny bit of attacking threat, but nothing really significant. 5 million is not such a bad price for him, I suppose, and there's no blank game weeks either for the Man City guys. Next up, Heung-min Son. I think He's going to go ahead of Richarlison because he is Son, but yeah, again, optional player really because of that. So the single game week this week, the blank game week, and next game week. Wolves is a okay fixture, but it's not like an amazing fixture, and he costs a lot of money. Again, who are you sacrificing to get Son? Is it Saka? Is it De Bruyne? You know, it doesn't seem like, is it, you know, Jota maybe? Foden? These don't seem like players that you should sell for Son this game week. They really, really don't. So therefore, he is optional, but no more than that. Again, after the blank game week, we will have another look at Son. And I think we'll have a very, very strong look at Son, as he is going to be one of those players who doesn't blank in 29. So that's going to be very nice. I think he's going to be a huge FPL option very, very soon. Gabriel, I think we have to put him higher than Saliba. I think we're going to put him in a good transfer. Do I back him more than a Luton defender this game week? Maybe. See, Gabriel's attacking threat is amazing. I do think he will keep a clean sheet this week and possibly in 27 as well against Sheffield United. He's definitely a good player to have, and I think it's really tough. I think out of the single game week players, it would be Saka and Gabriel who I'm most, most enthusiastic about, I suppose. So I think they do go into the good transfer category, but no higher. Again, if it's a single game week, Gabriel's probably top of the pile, you know, the #1 defender to go for, but yeah, maybe Van Dijk slightly ahead of him this week. Next up, Foden. Foden is going to go next to De Bruyne as a great transfer. Of course he is. He's found himself in a little bit of form recently, depending on where he's playing. I like Foden when he's a bit more centrally. He hasn't always been playing centrally. We saw towards the end of the Everton game, he moved in a bit, but he was playing a little bit wide that game. So not really sure what we're going to get from Foden. Hopefully, at least in one of the games, we're going to see him in that really nice central area because he's thriving there. And I think hopefully Pep Guardiola sees how effective Foden is in the more central areas, and just to play some wider players around him. I think that's going to work a little bit better. But hey, I'm not going to tell Pep Guardiola how to manage Manchester City. But play Foden centrally because he does really well. You know, even if he's cutting inside and allowing that freedom to express himself in the middle of the park, because yeah, it could be huge from him. He could go absolutely crazy, just like he did against Brentford. That was pretty wild in game week 23, wasn't it? Could definitely happen again. Tony up next. Double game week this week, no blank next game week, and no blank in 29 as well. So yeah, one more extra fixture than Manchester City, which is going to be very nice. 8.2 million, a little bit expensive, but when we talk about these Man City and Liverpool players, a lot of them are at least a little bit minutes risk. Tony, 180-minute man across the double game week with penalties. You can't really ask for much more, particularly as he is one of those fixture-proof players. And believe me, you need to be a fixture-proof player for Brentford this double game week because the fixtures are horrible against Liverpool and Man City. Really, really tough. So still do back him. Luis Diaz up next. I'm going to put him in good transfer. I think I'd drop him just below the likes of De Bruyne, Fodens and Tony. He's still a fantastic FPL pick, but I just do think some of the other double gaming players just edge him a little bit. But I would prefer to go for him than maybe a Luton player or maybe a Liverpool defender for sure. And, you know, if you can triple up on the Liverpool attack, I think you're going to be on for a very nice game week this week. But it might cause you some problems in game week 26. But yeah, Luis Diaz, if you can't afford the likes of Diogo Jota, maybe he can work as a slight alternative. But we do need to move on to the final single game week player of this tier list. Manchester United tax coming in hard again. Man United fans they rule FPL. They really rule FPL because it's the 4th most popular transfer this game week, and it's Højlund. Of course it is. I'm going to drop Højlund somewhere in the optional category. It's a real shame, actually. I'm going to put him slightly ahead of Watkins, I think. It is a shame because Højlund is coming into form right at the moment where there is other better options. So I do think if you're going for Højlund, does that mean you are sacrificing Haaland? Does it mean that you're sacrificing Tony and Darwin? If so, is it really worth it? I don't know. Maybe not, because Højlund could very well do well against Luton. He could definitely score another goal. He's in good form at the moment. But is he going to score as much as the double game week players, Tony, Darwin, Haaland? Probably not. Even Adebayo, you probably give a slightly better chance for points this week than Højlund. So, yeah, it's difficult. I know you Man United fans, you really want him in your team. And I'm not going to stop you from doing that. And I think he can do well. But can he do as well as the double game week players? That, I think, is up for debate. And speaking of double game week players, let's talk about them once again because it's Darwin Nunez. think I'm actually going to put him right at the top of great transfer. I think he's a really, really good pick. You know, still getting plenty of chances to score. Seems reasonably nailed on. Now he's returned from injury. He's maybe going to be on penalties. Probably still going to be on penalties, which is very, very beneficial as well. And the double game week is amazing. Two really nice fixtures against teams that have been conceding goals this season. So Darwin, you know, I know he gets a bad rap, but he still scores goals. And we saw it again, scoring goals in game week 25. He'll do it in game week 24. He'll do it again in 25. No doubt about it. He is a top pick. And, you know, he gets a bad rap, but he's actually been doing really well this season. Maybe not as well as he could do, but still, you know, if you have 100 chances to score every game and you only score one of them, that's still FPL points. So, yeah, Darwin still backing him. I'm going to put another Liverpool player in here. It's Diogo Jota. I'm actually going to slip him slightly behind Darwin. I'm tempted to put him below the Man City guys as well, but I think I will put him just about ahead. A little bit cheaper than De Bruyne. Don't think he's quite as nailed on, to be fair, as De Bruyne and Foden, but in general, he will get a decent amount of minutes. The Salah is the main concern with Diogo Jota, but Diogo Jota, he can score from such a variety of different ways, whether it's scoring headers, on counter-attacks, with those poachers finishes in and around the box, often plays in a very central striker area, but also very often plays out wide as well. So a real variety, mixed bag player. You're not sure what you're going to get from him, but he's been super consistent recently. He really cannot be stopped. Diogo Slaughter, which leaves one final player for the tier list, guys. And it is one man and one man only. Erling Haaland, yeah. He's going to go in number one. There is zero doubt in my mind that he absolutely needs to go in the number one position as a must-buy for this game week. Those of you guys who do not own Haaland, what are you waiting for? You need to get involved in this one because he is back on form, scoring goals, double game week, triple captain. Probably most top FPL managers will be triple captaining Haaland. If you do not own him and if you do not captain him, at the very least, you could see your rank halved, maybe even quartered, like, but in the bad way. I guess doubled, you know. If you're rank 100,000th in the world right now, guys, and you don't have Haaland this week and everyone else is triple captaining him, you could see yourself go like to 1 millionth in the world in a single game week. It really could be that damaging. That is how popular Haaland is going to be this week. 250% EO this week. You heard it here first. It is happening and it's going to be terrifying, really terrifying. I know it's template, I know it's boring, but sometimes, you know, me more than anyone, I know I don't like to play template, I like to play different, but even me, I have to accept that sometimes it is template for a reason. You just have to do it, you just have to go with the crowd because it is just such a good pick. It is just so obvious that there's no really arguing about it, and I will not be arguing about it. And if anyone in the comments or watching this video right now disagrees with me and thinks Haaland is not a must-buy, please tell me in the comment section. I would love to hear a counter argument to the Haaland must-buy. I don't think you can provide one, but kudos to you if you can. But there we go, guys. That is the tier list wrapped up. I think it looks pretty good as it is. I'm happy with all of the placements, but let me know if you're happy with the placements as well. Any players you would move up or down, let us know in the comments. But yeah, I think we've got it, guys. Priority transfers this week. Haaland, Darwin, Diogo Jota, De Bruyne, Foden and Tony. Those 6 players are, in my opinion, the best buys for game week 25. And if you could get 4 or 5 of these players, I think you're going to be in an amazing position. So go get it, guys. Let's go get this double game week. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys, for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like. Do subscribe if you're new around here. And we will be streaming tonight after the Chelsea versus Crystal Palace game. Looking forward to that. See a few of you guys there. Also did upload yesterday, so go check that out. A video all about the double game week and how you might strategize around this double game week, which you might find interesting. But aside from that, I will see you tonight for the stream, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.